we're going to start by looking at our data sets. Here we are in ArcGIS Online. We've got a couple of store locations stored as points. That's all there is here, no attributes, just a couple of point datas, 2 stores in the Los Angeles area. We also have some data in Snowflake. Here's our customer table. There's a loyalty score as well as an address associated with the customer, as well as some transaction data, so spend history associated with each customer. And this data here could be for the entire country, depending on the store. This could be a franchise, and maybe there's hundreds of locations in each state. So we need a way to bring these systems together so that we can analyze them at one without necessarily pulling in all of this customer data. We're just interested in that in the LA area. So we start by reading in those 2 points from ArcGIS Online. Here's our 2 stores as point data. And we can create catchment zones using the buffer tool in the workspace. So these buffers are what we're going to use to run a query on our Snowflake database. So to do that, we can start by using the feature reader. And we're going to connect to our Snowflake database and read in our customer table. And here we're going to use a where clause. And you can see we're passing in that buffer polygon with some spatial SQL. In this case, it's the stdwithin command. And this is only going to return the customers that are inside of those buffers. So only the customers around those stores. Next, we want to get some more information about these customers. So we're going to use the SQL executor to run another SQL statement, this time on the transactions table. And this simple select statement will pull all of the spend data and purchase history for every customer that we've pulled out from our catchment zones. So this is going to be a much richer profile of our customers for each store. And then we want to pull everything together. So we're going to use a feature joiner just to add that aggregated customer data back to our spatial features before publishing. Finally, we want to visualize these results. So we can publish this to ArcGIS Online, and the result will be a Snowflake enriched data set on a web map. So here you can see we have all of our customer points aggregated with spend attributes. So we started off with just a couple of simple store locations, and now we have a really complete picture of each store's customer base from that data stored in Snowflake. Obviously, this map in particular could probably benefit from a cartographer doing a better job, but you get the idea. This is the kind of thing that we can share easily with business analysts and other stakeholders that might be interested in this kind of information. We can do a lot more with SQL than joins and filtering them. So let's look at an H3 workflow. Here we're going to return to the buffers that we've made. This time we're going to dissolve it into one area. So here's our store zones. And just like before, we're going to use the geometry extractor transformer to turn that buffer into encoded text. In this case, well-known text. And this transformer is great to use before you're running any kind of SQL that's going to be spatial, because you can easily turn any kind of geometry into a string that you can use in a statement. So we will do just that. In this case, in our SQL executor again. So this statement is a little scarier than our last two, but that's just because I've combined a few different things into one statement. You could easily break this into a couple of different steps, but this is just one large statement doing a few things. So in this case, we are connecting to both our customer and transactions table in Snowflake, using our geometry to filter them out. And we are going to group our customers into hex cells. So we're calculating the totals for every cell. And then we'll get sort of a complete picture using hex mapping. And you can see we can even visualize that here in the data inspector. This is a really clean and generalized layer, and this kind of layer can scale to millions of rows and still convey a lot of information. And we can write these to ArcGIS Online as well. So this is H3 aggregation and ArcGIS Online. You'll often display something like this with graduated colors. Again, I'm sort of regretting my choice of color scale here. It's not the best looking, but you can see we have low spend to high spend customers and their distribution around those stores. So we can see all those hotspots of customer activity and spend. And it's a really efficient way to visualize patterns without overwhelming the map with individual points. In this demo, every platform contributed, I think, its strengths. Snowflake handled that heavy lifting and processing. FME moved and transformed the data between systems. And Esri turned those results into a really clear visualization. So working together, they delivered insights faster and with a lot less effort.